I have depicted how a general reaction happens. For example, if we have an organic molecule, homolytic cleavage and heterolytic cleavage, or I can also call it as, in this cleavage, the shared pair of electron goes with each of the bonded atom. The bond breaks in such a way that shared pair of electron remains with one of the fragments. Hello my dear students, welcome back to the session 4 on the chapter Some Basic Principles and Techniques of Organic Chemistry. Last class we studied about the nomenclature of organic compounds containing functional group and also nomenclature of substituted benzene compounds. Today we shall study about some of the fundamental concepts of organic reactions or organic reaction mechanisms. Okay, so first here I have depicted how a general reaction happens. For example, if we have an organic molecule, okay, which is called as a substrate, or in simple words we can also call them as reactants. Okay, on the organic molecule there is something which is attacking, or there is something, one more reactant which is reacting. So it can be an attacking reagent. Okay, so with the attacking reagent, the organic molecule will form an intermediate which is highly unstable. Okay, further this intermediate will decompose or it will form products, and some other byproducts are also formed. Okay, one major product which we are expecting, along with that there are some different products which is formed, which we call them as byproducts. So what happens exactly? The reactants will react, it will form an intermediate. Intermediate means it is a state which is unstable and it is there only for some time, that's all. Okay, which further will form products as well as byproducts. So now here the sequential account of each step describing details of electron movement, energetics during the bond cleavage, and bond formation and the rate of transformation of the reactants into products is called or referred to as reaction mechanism. So in a reaction mechanism, what we are explaining? We are explaining every detail, how the bond is breaking. Okay, we are explaining bond cleavage or bond breakage, I can tell. Okay, and then also we are explaining about the movement of the electrons, that is how the electrons are moving from one reagent to other, whether the electrons is forming a bond or the bond is breaking to give rise to some free radicals or cation, anion, etc. Everything we are going to explain. Okay, so electron movement, we are explaining about the bond detail, cleavage. Okay, and about the bond formation, new bonds which are formed because of the bond cleavage. Okay, and also we are explaining the rate of the reaction, that is with what speed the reaction is happening, with what velocity the reactants are getting converted into products. All of this you will be explaining, then we call it as a reaction mechanism. Okay, so we need to know some of the basic terminologies and some of the basics is required to understand the reaction mechanism, which I will teach today. Okay, so first one is fission of a covalent bond. Fission, or I can tell it is breakage, how the bond can break. And which bond are we talking about? Only covalent bond. I have already explained the meaning of covalent bond. Now, for example, if I have A and B which is bonded with one covalent bond, that means to tell that A is giving an electron, B is giving an electron, and these two electrons are shared between A and B. That's when I tell it is having a single covalent bond. Now, how can we break this bond? Okay, that can happen in two ways. That is homolytic cleavage and heterolytic cleavage, or I can also call it as homolytic fission or heterolytic fission. Okay, fission means breakage. So first we will go into details about the homolytic cleavage. Now homolytic cleavage, what is the meaning of that? Now for example, I have taken AB. Okay. Now A is given an electron, B is given an electron, and this pair of electron is shared between A and B, forming a covalent bond. Now if the bond is broken in such a way that the electron of A will remain with it, electron of B will remain with itself, then we can write it like this: A with one electron which was bonded and B with one more electron which was bonded, and such species which is produced by homolytic fission is called as free radicals. So bond is broken in such a way that each atom get its respective electron with itself. Okay, such breakage is called as homolytic cleavage. Okay, so in this cleavage, the shared pair of electron goes with each of the bonded atom equally. Now a covalent bond between the atom may be shown as this way, or it is in the this just with the line, or just two dots we can put between the two atoms. Okay, so this bond may undergo fission in such a way that each atom retains the electron that has been shared. Okay, and such species which is obtained, we call it as free radicals or odd electron molecules. Okay, so for example, ethane we have taken. In ethane we have carbon-carbon bond. We have CH3 group and CH3 group. Carbon has given one electron, the other carbon has given an electron. The bond is broken such a way that the electron of CH3 group, that is carbon, will have one radical, CH3 group has one more radical, and this is called as methyl free radical is formed. Okay, so due to homolytic cleavage, we always get a free radical. Next is heterolytic cleavage. Now in heterolytic cleavage, what exactly is happening? Here the bond breaks in such a way that shared pair of electron remains with one of the fragments. Now for example, A and B, both have given one electron each, there is a covalent bond. Now A is more electronegative, okay, and it takes up, not only it has its own electron, it takes up the electron of the neighboring atom also and gets a negative charge, and B has lost an electron, so it gets a positive charge. So you usually get a cation and an anion due to heterolytic cleavage. Fine. Now example we can take here, methyl chloride, CH3Cl. Chlorine is more electronegative, so it has its own electron, but it takes the electron of carbon also and goes out as Cl minus. When it has gotten one extra electron, why I am telling one extra electron? This electron was its own. The extra electron is from carbon, isn't it? So it has got one extra electron, we put one minus charge. Okay, and carbon has lost one electron, so you can see it has got a positive charge. So you get a cation and an anion when heterolytic cleavage is happening. Okay, so this is heterolytic fission or heterolytic cleavage. Next is, what is a carbocation? We need to know. Now what is the meaning of carbocation? The word itself tells cation, carbo of carbon. So carbon having a positive charge, we call it as carbocation. Okay, so a species having a carbon atom possessing a positive charge is called as a carbocation, and this is formed due to heterolytic fission or heterolytic cleavage. For example, you have RCH2X. Okay, now X is more electronegative. So what it does, it takes the electron from the carbon also towards itself, and there is breakage of the bond. So carbon has lost an electron, gets the positive charge, and X has gained the electron. It is shown in the form of two dots, or I can put a negative charge like this. So an anion is formed and the carbon gets the positive charge. We call it as a carbocation. So what is the meaning of carbocation? A species in which carbon atom is possessing a positive charge is called as carbocation. Okay. Next we are going to study about the different types of carbocation. Now carbocation can be of primary, secondary, tertiary. Now what is the meaning of primary carbocation? Now for example, a carbon atom with a positive charge has got one carbon neighbor. That is, it has got just one CH3 group or any group is present, but it has got only one carbon neighbor and the other two bonds are just with the hydrogen atom. Then we call that as a primary carbocation. Okay. Now the carbon with a positive charge has got two carbon neighbors. Then we call it as secondary carbocation. Okay. And if the carbon atom with the positive charge has got three carbon neighbors, then we call it as tertiary carbocation or here in this case it is trimethyl carbonium ion. Okay. So, but please don't mistake that R group here, it should be only CH3 group, not necessarily. For example, I can tell carbon, this is CH2 with a positive charge and this has got one carbon neighbor that is CH2 and then the same thing has got CH3. But this one, immediate neighbor, only one carbon is there. The other two are hydrogen atoms. So this is still primary carbocation. Okay. Don't think that always the carbon neighbor should be a CH3 group itself. Not necessary. This can be any alkyl group. But you have to see the 4 bonds. Now carbon can form 4 bonds, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. So one bond, this electron it is lost, so it has got the positive charge. Now the other 3 bonds, here there is a carbon neighbor, some group. Here also there is a carbon neighbor, then it is secondary carbocation. Here also there is a carbon neighbor that is with any alkyl group, then it is tertiary. Okay, but this carbon neighbor, not necessary that it has to be only CH3 group. This may be C2H5 group. This also may be a C2H5 group. But it has got 3 carbon bonded to the carbon with the positive charge. Then this is tertiary. Okay. So that's the way you have to understand primary, secondary and tertiary carbocation. When it comes to the stability of these carbocations, which is more stable? Tertiary carbocation is always more stable. So you can see tertiary carbocation. Now you might think, ma'am, you have written it in a different way. Here you have written it in a different way. See, this is the condensed form of molecular formula what I have written. Here there is a, not structural, but here also it's a condensed, but it's 2 ways of writing. That's all. Okay, here I have written CH3, CH3, CH3. 3 are there. So CH3 3 times C per positive charge. Okay, so tertiary has got the highest stability carbocation, then comes the secondary, then comes the primary, last is the methyl carbocation. Okay, that is CH3 group with a positive charge. No carbon neighbors, only one CH3 group is carbon atom is there and that has got the positive charge. Okay, so this is the order of stability of carbocations. Again, it's very important for your competitive exams also. Okay. Next we look into carb anion. So now carb anion means what? Carbon with a negative charge. Carbocation means carbon with a positive charge. Carb anion means it is the carbon with the negative charge. Okay. So carbon species carrying a negative charge on carbon atom is called as carb anion. Now when is carb anion is formed? Okay. For example, I have taken a compound. Now, X is having less electronegativity, okay, compared to the carbon. So, carbon takes the electron towards itself. So, X loses an electron or gives the electron to carbon and carbon gets the negative charge and X gets the positive charge. At that point of time, carb anion is formed. So, the atom which is bonded to carbon atom is less electronegative than carbon. Then carbon can get the negative charge due to heterolytic fission. Okay. So I hope you have understood what is the meaning of carb anion. Okay. Next is about the free radicals. When are the free radicals formed? It is formed due to homolytic fission. So what are free radicals? Free radicals are species with one or more unpaired electron obtained by homolytic fission of the covalent bond. So if a species is having one unpaired electron which was obtained by breakage of the bond, then we call them as free radicals. Okay, the free radicals are denoted by just putting a dot against the atom or a group of atoms. For example, chlorine free radical, methyl free radical, benzyl or phenyl free radical. Okay, so if you have an atom, you just put a dot like this, then it means it is a free radical. Okay, so that's about free radicals. Next is stability of free radicals. Which is more stable? Just like carbocation, you need to know the stability of free radicals also. Alkyl free radicals are classified as primary, secondary or tertiary, and the stability is as follows. Here also, remember, the carbon atom alone, only one carbon atom with 3 hydrogen atom and 1 extra electron, we call it as methyl free radical. Okay. Whereas the carbon with a single electron has got 1 carbon neighbor, then it is primary free radical. If the carbon with the electron has got 2 carbon neighbors, then it is secondary free radical. And the carbon with the free electron has got 3 alkyl groups or 3 carbon neighbors, then we call it as tertiary free radical. So once again, carbon, single carbon atom with a extra electron, it is methyl free radical. Carbon with 1 carbon neighbor is primary free radical. Carbon with the electron has 2 carbon neighbors, secondary free radical. And the carbon with the 3 carbon neighbors is called tertiary free radical. And which is more stable? Methyl free radical is more stable, then comes primary, then comes secondary, and last is tertiary. So the order of stability is methyl free radical is more stable, then primary, then secondary, last is tertiary free radical. Okay, so that's about the stability. Next is, what is the meaning of nucleophile and an electrophile? Nucleophile, a species which loves to go towards the nucleus. Now, what is the charge which is present? Charge particle which is present in the nucleus? A proton, and it is positively charged. So, if something likes to go towards positively charged center, then itself will have which charge? A negative charge. Correct? So, a nucleophile is nucleus loving. Okay, phile means loving. Nucleophile, it loves to go towards the nucleus. That means it itself has got a negative charge. A reagent then brings an electron pair is called as a nucleophile. That is nucleus seeking or nucleus loving. It has got negative charge. I told you OH minus, Cn minus, all these are the examples for a nucleophile. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of electrophile? Electron loving. It loves to go towards electron rich centers. Okay. That means itself should have positive charge, isn't it? So, the reagent that takes away electron pair, it loves to take the electron, okay, or it loves to go towards the electron center. They are electron seeking. Then we call them as the electrophile. And it has got what charge? Either it is positively charged or it can go towards that center, negatively charged center, or it can also take up an electron. Then we call them as electrophile. Some more examples for electrophile, I can give it as CH3 plus, then I can also tell NO2 plus, etc. They are all having positive charges, or they can take up electron very easily. Okay. Next is about the electron movement in organic reactions. How do we show the movement of the electron in organic reactions? Okay, first one is, here there is one sigma bond and one pi bond. We know whenever there is a double bond or a triple bond, then if there is a double bond one will be sigma bond, one will be pi bond. If there's a triple bond, there will be one sigma bond and two pi bonds. Correct? So, Y is a reagent which is having a double bond and the single bond. Now, this pi bond is moving from one place to another place. So, this is from one pi bond to the adjacent bond position. We just put an arrow mark. From where it is moving to where. Okay. Where it is going to go, that side the head of the arrow should be present. Second way of representation is when the two electrons which is involved in bonding is going as a lone pair of electron. Then you put an arrow to show where exactly it is moving. So you can see, you can just put a two dots like this. So from pi bond to adjacent atom, when it is going, it is just placed as two dots to show that it is going as a lone pair there. Okay. Now, if there is a lone pair and it is forming a bond, then you have to show from the lone pair towards where it is going. From here to here it will go. So you can see it can be written like this. So, movement of electrons, always remember if there is a lone pair like this, 1, 2, you show it like this. Okay, and here it is moving. So, from where it is moving towards where it is going, you have to show the head of the arrow. Okay, so this is how we show the electron movement in organic reactions. Fine. I hope you have understood the basic concepts, what is required for understanding a mechanism. Okay. Next class, we will be learning about the electron displacement effect in covalent bonds. Fine. So, I hope you have understood today's class. Thank you, my dear children. Stay tuned, stay focused.